Τα 20 της γιορτάζει η ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ και παρόν είναι και ο αξιότιμος Υπουργός Εξωτερικών, κύριος Κασουλίδης. Καλησπέρα κύριε Κασουλίδη, καλησπέρα.
Είναι μεγάλη μου χαρά που είμαι εδώ και που έρχομαι με την ευκαιρία των 20χρονων, όπως έχετε πει, της ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ. Η ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ είναι η οργάνωση που είναι η ελπίδα και το μέλλον μας. Η προηγούμενη γενιά έχει προσφέρει πάρα πολύ στον τόπο, μόνο με το ερώτημα πού θα ήμασταν αν δεν υπήρχαν, αντιλαμβανόμαστε τη σημασία της προσφοράς της. Σιγά σιγά νέοι αναλαμβάνουν τη σκητάλη. Από αυτούς τους νέους θα ξεπηδήσουν ηγέτες από την ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ, παιδιά μορφωμένα από αγγλικά πανεπιστήμια που μιλούν την αγγλική γλώσσα και τους οποίους συμβούλευσα να κοσμούν την κοινωνία της Μεγάλης Βρετανίας, όχι να κλεινόμαστε στον εαυτό μας, αλλά σε όλη την κοινωνία, για να γίνουν στελέχη της αναγνωρισμένα, τα οποία θα βοηθήσουν και την πατρίδα των γονιών τους και τη δική τους πατρίδα που είναι σήμερα η Βρετανία.
Κύριε Κασουλίδη, θέλετε να μας πείτε λίγα λόγια για τις επαφές σας που είχατε εδώ τις μέρες αυτές?
Ναι, εκτός που μίλησα στην ψεσινή συγκέντρωση που οργάνωσαν η All Party Group του Βρετανικού Κοινοβουλίου και των δύο, και της Βουλής των Κοινοτήτων και της Βουλής των Λόρδων, αλλά και της δικής μας Ομοσπονδίας των Κυπρίων. Ήταν μια συγκέντρωση που είχε πολύ κόσμο, ήταν γεμάτη, ενώ 20 κοινοβουλευτικοί, δηλαδή ενώ είτε μέλη της Βουλής των Κοινοτήτων είτε μέλη της Βουλής των Λόρδων παρίσταντο, έδωσαν το παρόν τους, κάποιοι προσφώνησαν και ήρθε και ο Υπουργός Ευρώπης, ο νέος Υπουργός Ευρώπης, ήταν μόνο μία ημέρα Υπουργός, ήρθε, προσφώνησε και σήμερα τον συνάντησα και είχαμε μια πολύ καλή συνάντηση. Ένα από τα θέματα είναι συζητήσαμε και το ψήφισμα που αναμένεται να εκδοθεί στο Συμβούλιο Ασφαλείας, αλλά και πολλά άλλα θέματα και για τις σχέσεις Κύπρου-Βρετανίας και για την υπόθεση του κυπριακού προβλήματος. Συναντήθηκα επίσης με τον Speaker του House of Commons σαν μια φιλοφρονητική ανταπόδοση της δικής του επίσκεψης που είχε στο Υπουργείο Εξωτερικών της Κύπρου. Συναντήθηκα και με τον αναπληρωτή πρόεδρο της Επιτροπής Εξωτερικών της Βουλής των Κοινοτήτων. Είχα συνάντηση με τον σεβασμιότατον Αρχιεπίσκοπο Θειατήρων. Είχα και μία επίσκεψη στο Chatham House, όπου καθίσαμε με ερευνητές και τον Γενικών Διευθυντή και συζητήσαμε γύρω από την Κύπρο πολλά θέματα τα οποία ενδιαφέρουν την Τράπεζα Σκέψης, που είναι μια από τις πιο γνωστές στον κόσμο, το Chatham House.
Να μην σας κουράζω, υπάρχουν ελπίδες για προώθηση του θέματος της Κύπρου? Τι προβλέπουμε, κύριε Κασουλίδη?
Πεθαίνει τελευταία.
Λοιπόν, σας ευχαριστούμε. Καλό γυρισμό.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Χαιρετώ τους ακροατές σας.
Πάτερ ημών,
εν της ουρανής, αγιαστείτε το όνομά σου, ελθέτε βασιλεία σου, γεννηθείτε το θέλημά σου, ως εν ουρανό και επί της γης, τον άρτον ημών των επιουσιών, δώσε μη σήμερα, και άφεση μη τα οφειλήματα ημών, ως και εμείς αφήνουμε τους οφειλέτες ημών, και εμείς τις ενέγγυς ημάς σας πεναμών, αλλά ρίσε ημάς από του πονηρού.
Δόξα Πατρί και Υιό και Υιό Πνεύματι και Δίν και Ιερή και Ιησούς αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Κύριε Λέησον, Κύριε Λέησον, Κύριε Λέησον, Δέσποτα Άγιε Ευλόγησον. Σε δώσιμον ευλόγησον την πρόση, την πόση, τον νους, ότι Άγιος πάντοτε, νύν και της αιώνας των αιώνων. Αμήν. Καλησπέρα σας και καλή όρεξη.
As NEPOMAK UK Vice President, I'm delighted to welcome you all here tonight, especially our guest of honour, His Excellency, the Cyprus Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ioannis Kasoulidis. We're really honoured to have you all here today to celebrate on this occasion the 20th anniversary for NEPOMAK UK and all of NEPOMAK Global as well. I'd like to invite the President of NEPOMAK UK, Adrian Patsalos, for his introductory remarks, marking our 20th anniversary. Thank you.
Σεβασμιότατε Αρχιεπίσκοπε Θειατήρων και Μεγάλης Βρετανίας, εξοχότατε Υπουργέ Εξωτερικών της Κυπριακής Δημοκρατίας, έντιμε εξοχότατε είπατε αρμοστή της Κύπρου στο Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο, έντιμε εκπρόσωποι της ελληνικής πρεσβείας, έντιμα μέλη της Κυπριακής Υπάτης Αρμοστίας, φίλοι Πρόεδροι της ΠΟΜΑΚ και ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ, φίλε Πρόεδρε της Εθνικής Κυπριακής Ομοσπονδίας Ηνωμένου Βασιλείου, έντιμε Πρόεδρε των Ελληνορθοδόξων Κοινοτήτων Ηνωμένου Βασιλείου, σεβαστό Ιερατείο, φίλοι Πρόεδροι των Σωματείων, Οργανώσεων και Παραρτημάτων των Πολιτικών Κομμάτων της Κύπρου, αγαπητοί Δημοτικοί Σύμβουλοι, πρώην Πρόεδροι και στελέχοι της ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ Ηνωμένου Βασιλείου, αγαπητοί φίλοι, συνεργάτες και παλαιά μέλη της ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ, εκλεκτοί προσκεκλημένοι. I am deeply honoured to be marking this important and historical occasion for NEPOMAK UK with all of you tonight. 2022 marks 20 years since NEPOMAK UK, the representative organisation for young Cypriots, was formally established. Regrouping after 2 years of the coronavirus pandemic, NEPOMAK UK's newly elected executive committee agreed to host a series of events to mark and celebrate our 20th year running, including a formal celebration with a representative of the Republic of Cyprus government. We are therefore delighted to welcome His Excellency, the Foreign Affairs Minister of Cyprus, Mr. Ioannis Kasoulidis, as our guest of honour. It is rather symbolical that it is with the same minister who was in office when NEPOMAK and NEPOMAK UK were formally established that we have the opportunity to mark and celebrate this occasion today. Serving his third term in office as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, we will look forward to hearing from you later this evening about your recollection of our first steps. We all know Rome was not built in a day. Whilst we are immensely proud of the work that happened over the past 20 years, connecting our members in the UK, we are also extremely grateful to the work of the NFCY Steering Committee prior to 2002 and the support of people in the community such as Mr. Sophocleidis, Mr. Papa-Evripidis, Ioannis and Victoria Kouvaros, Mr. Andreas Kasoulidis, and many others who contributed towards providing us pillars to build on. Without these pillars, the past 20 years would have simply not been possible. As some of you may know, the initial name of our organisation was the National Federation of Cypriots Youth, or NFCY. It was formally established as an organisation in 2002, but to get there, it required the hard work of the 10 members of the steering committee you have in front of you in the flyers today. NFCY was renamed to NEPOMAK UK a year later. We paid tribute to the first president of NEPOMAK and NFCY, Menigos Kouvaros, for his leadership and the endless hours dedicated to the organisation. Opa! Third time, na τρίτος είπε κακό. Tonight really is a tribute to all of our members who over the years have played their role to ensure that an organisation to connect young Cypriots continue to exist. For me, the most admirable thing about NEPOMAK is that the organisation has always been run by volunteers. And if life has taught me as a young person anything so far, it's that the most valuable thing we've got is our time. All these volunteers have offered their time generously to represent, to organise and to connect young Cypriots across the UK. I hope this event demonstrates the minimum amount of appreciation for all your hard work over the years. In addition to connecting young Cypriots with fun and innovative ideas and events, we also learn about our culture, our traditions, our history, but also the tragic consequences of an illegal and ongoing occupation. In 2020, we organised an online event with the world-famous author Victoria Hislop, focusing on the book The Sunrise, which covers the tragic moments of the Turkish invasion, focusing specifically on Varosi. In 2021, we organised the prayer for our missing compatriots and decorated a Christmas tree with pictures and names of those missing at the All Saints Church in London. And these are just a couple of examples of how we've stayed connected to our national issue. By supporting in every way the events and online campaigns that the National Federation of Cypriots in the UK organises, our members not only know about the Cyprus issue, but continue to contribute to our common goal for the liberation of our island, the withdrawal of occupying troops, the abolition of anachronistic guarantees, and the return of all refugees and the reunification of our island. The love for Cyprus and the desire for freedom has been passed down from generation to generation, and the grandchildren of those refugees are ready and are already contributing to our common struggle for justice and freedom. Κύριε Υπουργέ, εκ μέρους της Κυπριακής Νεολαίας του Ηνωμένου Βασιλείου, θέλω να σας ευχαριστήσω για τη μακροχρόνια υποστήριξη σας στην ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ, τα προγράμματα της και τις πρωτοβουλίες της. Ελπίζουμε ότι η παρουσία μας εδώ, μετά από 20 χρόνια και, να είναι μια επιβεβαίωση, όχι μόνο για εσάς, αλλά και για τις μεγαλύτερες γενιές, ότι παρόλο που ήμασταν αγέννητοι όταν εισέβαλε παράνομα η Τουρκία στη μεγαλόνισό μας, καταλαβαίνουμε και συμπονούμε με τους γονείς μας και τους παππούδες και τις γιαγιάδες μας. Είναι μια επιβεβαίωση και ίσως και μια υπόσχεση πως όσο συνεχίζει να υπάρχει η NEPOMAK, θα υπάρχουν και μέλη της Διασποράς που θα είναι έτοιμοι να συνεχίσουν τους ακούραστους αγώνες των προγόνων μας μέσω της POMAK και της ΨΕΚΑ. Και είναι τιμή μας που έχουμε μαζί μας σήμερα όχι ένα, αλλά δύο παραδείγματα. Τον πρώτον πρόεδρο και πρώτο γενικό γραμματέα της NEPOMAK Βασιλείου, Μένικο Κούβαρο και Χρήστο Καραολή, που συνεχίζουν να προσφέρουν ακούραστα στην παροικία μας μέσω των ρόλων τους στην Εθνική Κυπριακή Ομοσπονδία. It would be wrong not to thank the Greek Cypriot Brotherhood for hosting us tonight, the caterers Andrea and Anna Kamaris for the generous support, and Mrs. Helen Alexandrou, firstly for her two sons, George and Constantine, for being one of a couple of the most dedicated volunteers we've had, but also the amazing birthday cake you've made for NEPOMAK, and we look forward to enjoying later this evening. Many thanks to our Vice President Christina, the NEPOMAK UK committee members for their support in making tonight possible. In organisations like NEPOMAK, there's one main thing that is always worth remembering. That leadership with no fellowship means absolutely nothing. The most crucial part of any membership-led organisation are the members themselves, and without them, nothing mentioned earlier would have been achieved. So tonight is really about you. To our volunteers, we don't say this enough. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your passion about Cyprus. Thank you for helping us connect young Cypriots. And thank you for all the amazing memories, friendships and relationships you have helped us create over the past 20 years. You are amazing, and every day I have the honour to serve as your NEPOMAK UK President and the office to serve the committee. You inspire us to work even more, even harder, to achieve even more. Σας ευχαριστώ. Χρόνια μας πολλά.
Thank you, Adrian, for those comments. It's very moving. In addition to being the biggest regional branch of NEPOMAK Global, NEPOMAK UK is also the youth branch of the National Federation of Cypriots in the UK. Χρήστος Καραολής has served our community both as an officer of NEPOMAK UK and its parent organisation. We'd like to invite the president of our parent organisation for his remarks, Χρήστος Καραολής. Thank you.
Your Eminence, Your Excellence, I will honour the rest of the protocol that Adrian outlined to spare everyone. It gives me great pleasure and a huge sense of pride to welcome you all to this evening's event to celebrate 20 years of NEPOMAK UK, not just as President of the National Federation of Cypriots, but as a former President of both NEPOMAK and NEPOMAK UK. The decision to establish the Diaspora Youth Movement was born out of a recognition of the importance of maintaining our culture and traditions amongst the second, third and fourth generation, and of course the need to ensure a sustainable future for our organised diaspora. This transition from the first to the second generation is the trickiest for any diaspora because it involves a recasting of identity to incorporate the cultures and traditions of our countries of origin, Cyprus, and the country that, for a lot of the second and third generation, we now call home, the UK. And NEPOMAK UK and its predecessor, the National Federation of Cypriot Youth, have been at the forefront of this transition for over 2 decades. It is therefore a testament to the vision of those who saw the need for NEPOMAK and the multiple generations of individuals who have led and been involved in NEPOMAK UK that the organisation has reached this fantastic milestone. And as Adrian said, it's a particular tribute to have Minister Kasoulidis with us, because I remember him from the inaugural conference some 20 years ago. So thank you for joining us 20 years later. I know just how much work is involved to keep the organisation thriving, having served as its president for a while. So a very well done to all the young people involved. It is an achievement that we should all celebrate and be proud of. And when NEPOMAK UK and NFCY was formed, it was little more than an experiment. 20 years later, it's now part of the established community infrastructure. And I'm delighted that we're also seeing the benefits within the National Federation of Cypriots. We now have over 25% of our secretariat under 40, with many former NEPOMAK UK committee members being elected into the federation structures. And as we look to the future, it is evident that our organised diaspora's long-term future relies on a thriving NEPOMAK UK. So we need NEPOMAK UK to continue innovating, evolving and building on the foundations of previous generations. In closing, once again, congratulations to NEPOMAK UK, its current and former officers and committee members on reaching this 20th anniversary. I'm excited to see what the next 20 years holds in store. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Now, NEPOMAK UK and the Federation have established a very close and important working relationship with the High Commission of the Republic of Cyprus. They have empowered us as a diaspora to have a closer connection with our Cypriot heritage, and with the Cyprus High Commission's doors always being open for us, it has been a second home to us all. Now, with these close bonds created, it has meant many great memories, a lot of respect and appreciation, and of course sadness when their term comes to an end. And I'd like to invite both the NEPOMAK UK and Federation President back to present the first awards of the evening. Thank you.
Deputy High Commissioner and Consul General, the past 4 years have been the most challenging, keeping in mind the problems and demands created by Brexit and the coronavirus pandemic. There is no doubt that your efforts have been extraordinary and that you've gone above and beyond from what was required from you to be there for the UK Cypriot community. Κύριε Μανώλη, σας ευχαριστούμε που όποτε χρειαστήκαμε την υποστήριξή σας, ήσασταν εκεί, υποστηρίζοντας όχι μόνο την νεολαία που γεννήθηκε στο Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο, αλλά και τους χιλιάδες νέους που επέλεξαν το Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο για να σπουδάσουν ή να δουλέψουν. Φίλε Θεόδωρε, με τη συμμετοχή σου στα Weekend Aways της NEPOMAK και Ηνωμένου Βασιλείου στο Birmingham και στη Σκωτία, ήρθες κοντά με την νεολαία. Και παρόλο που η πανδημία στάθηκε εμπόδιο, μπορούμε να πούμε ότι προλάβαμε και ζήσαμε αρκετές αξέχαστες στιγμές με έναν πρόξενο που με τον δικό του τρόπο έχει γράψει τη δική του ιστορία. Για αυτούς τους λόγους, αλλά και για πολλούς άλλους, η NEPOMAK και η Εθνική Κυπριακή Ομοσπονδία αποφάσισε να δοθούν σήμερα αναμνηστικές πλακέτες εκ μέρους της παροικίας, οι οποίες λένε, εκ μέρους της NEPOMAK, the President and the Executive Committee expresses their appreciation to Nicola Manoli and Theodoros Kotsis for the support, guidance and collaboration with NEPOMAK UK to organise events and initiatives to connect young Cypriots in the region with their roots in Cyprus and promote our cause for a free, united Cyprus.
I don't want to repeat what Adrian said, but two things. One, Theodoro was fantastic during COVID. I spoke to Theodoro almost on a daily basis, whether it was to help Cypriot nationals get back to Cyprus or deal with troubles here in the UK and helping our diaspora here. So Theodoro, fantastic. Thank you very much for what you did during that and everything that Adrian mentioned. And Nicola, there's lots that people don't see in the work that you do, and a lot of the lobbying efforts in Parliament are not publicly, but very privately coordinated with the High Commission team. And so I won't say much more than that, but I think you can probably all infer what I mean. But thank you both so much.
Θέλετε να δώσετε τις πλακέτες. Εσείς. Είδε και στο πάνω. Κύριε Μανώλη.
Έλα, Νικόλα. Συγχαρητήρια και εις
Κομιμία των κύριων Μανώλη.
Ακόμα για τον κύριο.
Έναν της νεολαίας και έναν της ομοσπονδίας. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Και το ίδιο τον κύριο Μπάτση.
Θεόδωρος, μία για την National Federation. Όχι, για το Θόδωρο είναι, αλλά είναι δεσμευό. Συγχαρητήρια.
Ευχαριστήρια.
Βεβαίως.
Κύριε Υπουργέ, κύριε Πρόεδρε της ΝΕΠΟΜΑΚ, σεβασμιότατα, κύριε Πρέσβη, λυπή αξιωματούχοι, πραγματικά δεν περίμενα εγώ απόψε αυτή είναι η τιμή. Εντάξει, σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Ό,τι μπορέσαμε να κάνουμε, το κάναμε νομίζω ότι από καθήκον και βεβαίως αυτό που έπρεπε να γίνει. Η προσωπική μου ανάμνηση εδώ είναι καταπληκτική, γιατί ποτέ δεν, ακούγοντας κάποιος για την παροικία, θα πρέπει να τη ζήσει από κοντά για να καταλάβει πόσο δυναμική και προσφέρει αθόρυβα, θα έλεγα, σε πολλούς τομείς και σε όλα τα μετερίζια που υπάρχουν. Αν δεν ζήσεις εδώ, αν δεν υπηρετήσεις εδώ, δεν μπορεί να κατανοήσει κανείς την δύναμη της παροικίας και τη συμβολή. Λοιπόν, σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ και βεβαίως από το νέο Μπόστον που θα είμαι σε μια άλλη γεωγραφική ή γεωπολιτική περιοχή, στη διάθεση σας όλων και βεβαίως σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Να είστε καλά.
Να προσθέσω σε όσα είπε ο φίλτατος συνάδελφος ο κύριος Μανώλης και εγώ ευχαριστώ όλος ιδιαιτέρως. Πραγματικά είμαι συγκινημένος και είναι και πολύ μεγάλη τιμή να μας το δίνει ο Υπουργός μας, ο κύριος Κασουλίδης, που έχει προσφέρει τόσα πολλά στον τόπο μας και είναι πολύ μεγάλη τύχη αυτή. Όπως είπε ο Νικόλας, σε δύσκολες συνθήκες, αν δεν γνωρίσεις την παροικία, δεν μπορείς να καταλάβεις ακριβώς τι εννοούμε όταν το λέμε. Σε όλα τα επίπεδα, σε όλες τις ηλικίες, σε όλες τα επαγγέλματα, σε όλα τα προβλήματα που σίγουρα ως Γενικός Πρόξενος αντιμετωπίζει κάποιος περισσότερα τα καθημερινά προβλήματα, τις δυσκολίες, από απλά πράγματα που θέλουν απλά διεκπεραίωση μέχρι τα περίπλοκα που όλοι ξέρετε ότι μας προέκυψαν σε αυτή τη θητεία. Αλλά ήμασταν τυχεροί να είμαστε μια ομάδα στην Υπάτια Αρμοστία και βλέπω και άλλους συναδέλφους από την Υπάτια Αρμοστία και αυτό ήταν η απαραίτητη προϋπόθεση για να έχουμε τα εχέγγυα, να έχουμε έναν αποτέλεσμα για το οποίο θα το θυμόμαστε σίγουρα πάντα και θα είστε στην καρδιά μας και ο καθένας ξεχωριστά, διότι πολλοί φίλοι βρίσκονται εδώ, αλλά και όλοι μαζί ως η κυπριακή παροικία στο Ηνωμένο Βασίλειο. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
We have referred to the pandemic a few times tonight. There is no doubt that the pandemic has stigmatized our lives by taking many of our loved ones, but also by changing entirely how we did our day-to-day duties, either that was at work, at home, or in our community organisations such as NEPOMAK UK. We have seen the massive impact this has had on these organisations, and many are still recovering from the hit they took. Even the simplest tasks, meetings and events required extraordinary efforts by the leadership of such organisations. Social media before the pandemic was only used as a means to get people in the same space, for them to connect in person, but during lockdowns none of that was possible. So these people were literally starting from scratch, doing the things that they supposedly knew how to do, and I'm sure that wasn't an easy task. But for NEPOMAK UK, the pandemic presented an unusual opportunity to give back to the elderly generation that has given us so much. The former president of NEPOMAK, with the Federation president, jointly decided to assemble a team of young volunteers to collect and deliver groceries or medications for those who were unable to do so because they were shielding. For the first time, we felt that we were able to give back to people who all their lives sacrificed so much to give us not only what we might have needed, but also what we might have wanted. During COVID, NEPOMAK UK did not only continue functioning, but the team then managed to break fundraising records for charities and also to help others. Taking all of that into consideration, the unprecedented circumstances created by the coronavirus pandemic, and the leadership demonstrated during these extraordinary times, the membership of NEPOMAK unanimously approved the motion at our last annual general meeting to make Constantine Alexandrou NEPOMAK UK's first honorary president. Constantine, we thank you so much for everything, and we invite you up here tonight to formalise what happened back in December.
Without a jacket this time.
Well, very youth-like.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Adrian's been cheeky because he hasn't told me about this, and I haven't prepared anything. So what I'm going to say is, I honestly don't need this because I'm passionate about making young Cypriots understand how important it is to treasure their heritage, understand their history, acknowledge what happened in the past, but look to the future. And I couldn't do what we achieved during COVID without the volunteers and the hours that was spent even doing these social or virtual events that we had no experience doing. And we performed well and we increased our outreach. And hopefully that means how we evolve into a new way of doing events and engaging with Cypriots wider than London. We have members in Scotland and Birmingham, Wales, everywhere. It's great. And hopefully that creates a stronger network and we build on that and we achieve even more. And hopefully one day our main cause won't be to fight for a solution, because hopefully we'll achieve it and we can focus more on the culture and embracement. But for now, we really need to focus on the fact that our island is occupied, and it's on us as the youth to bear that torch into the future. And thank everyone who has helped NEPOMAK and the Federation and all the organisations over the decades. And, you know, sometimes it can be a thankless task, but that's all the more the reason why we need to acknowledge everyone in this room today who cares about the community and spends their time supporting the youth and the community in general. So thank you.
Thank you. We are deeply honoured this evening that our guest of honour tonight is His Excellency Mr. Ioannis Kasoulidis. During his first term as Foreign Minister, he led the diplomatic effort that saw the Republic of Cyprus join the European Union in 2004. Joining the European Union is without a doubt one of the biggest achievements of the Republic of Cyprus since its establishment. It was also during his first term that NEPOMAK and NEPOMAK UK were established. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Mr. Ioannis Kasoulidis.
Σεβασμιότατε, we thank you for your presence tonight. It's honoring us, and here you have a big part of your flock, of your opinion, who will embrace you or are embracing you with love, devotion for the work that you are doing, because the church is the column vertebral of the community, as it is always in diasporas. Now let me, first of all, thank you very much all for the invitation. If we take away the word excellency, it would have been better. We are much more secular in Cyprus. We don't use this kind of titles. But anyhow, thank you for the title. Looking at you, looking at your presence, I have seen some of your members in Cyprus whom I have approached in Congress of the Homogenia, and I have been asking them questions, or they have been asking me questions, all in English, but I was very proud. I was very proud that our young people who were not born in Cyprus, who don't know Cyprus, but they know their parents and their grandparents, express their support for the motherland of their parents or grandparents. And I think that all these people who are here, the senior ones, can live now happy that there is going to be a succession, when they have been doing all that they have done for Cyprus. I will tell you something that nobody knows. I was a junior hospital doctor immediately after the Turkish invasion, and I was taking part in your mobilizations. I walked from Hyde Park Corner to Trafalgar Square, where there were the speeches, and I was among the crowd. And I knew that Cyprus is not alone. First of all, Cyprus has its diaspora with it. And the diaspora has done so many things. We haven't solved the Cyprus problem, yes, but could you imagine how worse we would have been without the diaspora? And now the torch is going to younger generations. Already, Christos has become the president, whereas before, a few years before, he was the founder of NEPOMAK. So all of you who are ready to participate in the activities, in your own way, in your own likelihood, like the fact that what we're going to do, you are choose to do it, and you will do it your own way. We cannot teach you how to do it. What only I recommend, because I was asked by your president what I recommend, what sort of recommendations do I have to give, is that since you want to participate and be active, be active in the community of this country. Be active in the society of this country. Become recognized by them. Become, if it is possible, participate in the political parties of the United Kingdom, of your choice, of course. I'm not directing you to which you go. You go to all. This is my view, according to your beliefs. And there, the torch, you're becoming much bigger. And the influence that is going to be would be very important. I don't understand why there are so many Turkish Cypriot councillors, and we count only a few Greek Cypriot councillors. So you need to be active and participants locally, nationally, by constituency. I don't know how you're going to choose it, but try to do it. This is my first advice that I can give. The other advice is that the problem of Cyprus is not complicated as perhaps we are dealing with the politics, the foreign policy of every day. For you, what is important is to speak out of your heart the basics of the Cyprus problem. And the basics are simple. With now the fact that Ukraine, which is in the center of attention of all the world, they are talking about an invasion, about an effort of occupation by Russia towards Ukraine. The fact that you are hearing now every day that the international law has been violated by Russia against the Ukrainians. That you hear every day that the territorial integrity, the sovereignty, and the unity of one country called Ukraine is what it happened to Cyprus. There was an invasion, there was an occupation, there was the use of force, there was a violation of the territorial integrity, of the sovereignty, of the unity, of the independence of the Republic of Cyprus. This is the time where you can make the comparisons. This is the time that you will stimulate the interest of your fellow citizens, the British or others, or your local MP, or your local councillor, politicians in general, and make them think what is happening now in Ukraine, what has happened in 1974 in Cyprus. Again, we talk that might is not right. The same applies for Ukraine. What it applies in Ukraine, it applied and is applying for Cyprus. The fact that they have chased away people from their homes, from their villages, from their towns, who became internally displaced. What is happening now in Ukraine is happening in Cyprus. So therefore, go back to basic. Go back to basics, notions that everybody can understand. And the rest comes from these basic things. The fact that they are extending the occupation by trampling the Security Council resolutions, and they extend this occupation in an area which was left for so many years, it was understood to remain uninhabited, the area of Famagusta, or the fenced area of Varosha, as we say. Varosha is not, we say Varosha, but we are talking about Famagusta, the town of Evagoras, the town built by ancient Greek Tevkros when he left from ancient Greece and he came to Cyprus to build this town, the town of Famagusta, a Greek town. And it was inhabited by Greeks all over the centuries and the years. You will find nobody nowadays who does not understand these basic notions, and you will find that nobody in the world, no resolution, no international meeting has ignored the fact that we are in the right, we seek our freedom, we seek the liberation of our occupied part of our country, we seek that this occupation should be upturned. Question is, why did Turkey manage, after so many years, to be there, despite what the international community is saying, despite the fact that there are Security Council resolutions and other resolutions in the international fora who have condemned Turkey from what it has done and what continues to do. Well, we have to deal with a big country, with an important country, with a big client for the interests of others who sell them arms, whatever. Yes, but it's not our small country who is going to compete with this big country. Who will compete when you will manage to convince the United Kingdom, at least on the issue of Cyprus and of its just cause, that it should not be neglected or forgotten, and others to do the same in France, and others in the United States, and others in other countries, then this would be the time that Turkey will understand that they have to change course. And at least we are not asking them to capitulate. We are not asking one day to take their troops and go away. They can come and negotiate. We can find a compromise for everybody, but with main things that have to keep and reserve our dignity, our effort for freedom and a true freedom of our country. This compromise will not include neither the fact that we have properties that we have left behind, neither the fact that we have a culture that we need to preserve and respect, neither the fact that we live in this country, we are the proprietors of Cyprus, and therefore is there where we are going to live, those who have chosen to stay there and live, and it's here you are going to live, with a leadership that will come up from the ranks of NEPOMAK, of Cypriots who have become the third or the fourth generation of Cypriots, who will take over from these seniors, those who have worked and struggled to keep the idea regarding Cyprus alive, who had dedicated their lives for this, but you will take over. Either today or soon, you will take over. Be prepared, and you are going to do it according to what the ancient Greeks were saying. The ancient Greeks were saying, "Ames the esometa pollo karones tuton." We will, the young people were saying, better than from our parents and our seniors, we will become better. Pollo karones tuton. This was saying by the ancient Greeks, and this is what you will be repeating now. Be prepared, like the special forces of the army in Greece and Cyprus. They have this motto: be prepared. And that's what is my last words for you, to be prepared. I congratulate you. I know that you will be doing a lot of work, a lot of activities. I was impressed when I heard what you did during the pandemic. It was, for me, it was very moving, the fact that you dare, in the midst of the pandemic and the dangers, to work in order to help and assist the needy of your Cypriot community. And I am sure that in the same spirit that what you did, you will work for other good purposes. The role of the diaspora is not just the Cyprus problem. It is the Cyprus problem, but it's not only the Cyprus problem. You have many other activities that you can choose to do of your own choice. And I am sure that although I will be watching you as a grandfather from my home after the 1st of March, this doesn't mean that I will lose my interest on your future and on your achievements. Thank you very much.
Hundreds of young Cypriots have served as committee members and officers for NEPOMAK UK, many in which we see in the crowds today. However, we recognise that establishing voluntary organisations such as this can be challenging as well as exciting and ambitious. We heard earlier this evening just how important the building blocks were over 20 years ago and how vital this is to the continuation of NEPOMAK today. So we found a short video from 2003 with familiar faces discussing the future of the UK Cypriot diaspora, and we think you'll agree it is a great reflection of how their ambitions have since translated into the vibrant membership we have seen today. And while we still have so much to achieve, it is great to see its beginnings.
Πιστεύω ότι θα συνεχίσει να υπάρχει μία παροικία στο μέλλον, αλλά νομίζω ότι η μορφή αυτής της παροικίας θα αλλάξει εντελώς από την παροικία που γνωρίζουμε σήμερα. Νομίζω ότι μερικά στοιχεία με τα οποία κρίνουμε την παροικία σήμερα δεν θα είναι τόσο έντονα. Δηλαδή τη γλώσσα, δεν θεωρώ ότι η χρήση της ελληνικής γλώσσας θα συνεχίσει με τις επόμενες γενιές, μόνο και απλώς επειδή θα υπάρχουν μειχτούς γάμους, θα προχωρούμε από δεύτερη και τρίτη γενιά σε δεύτερη και πέμπτη γενιά και θα γίνει πάρα πολύ πιο δύσκολο για να συντηρηθεί η γλώσσα. Αλλά πάλι έχουμε εμείς έναν καθήκον να προσπαθούμε να βρούμε τους τρόπους και να προβληματίζουμε τους εαυτούς μας πώς μπορούμε να προσφέρουμε σε αυτούς τους νέους, στα παιδιά μας και στα παιδιά των παιδιών μας, πώς μπορούμε να τους προσφέρουμε την ευκαιρία να μάθουν την ελληνική γλώσσα, να μάθουν τη γλώσσα των γονιών τους ή των παππούδων τους.
Το όνομα μου είναι Αντρούλα Σωτήρη. Γεννήθηκα στην Αγγλία, αλλά οι γονείς μου γεννήθηκαν στην Κύπρο. Η μητέρα μου είναι από το Τρίκομο και ο πατέρας μου από τα Άρδανα και τα δύο χωριά στα κατεχόμενα. Τώρα τελειώσα τις σπουδές μου, πήγα πανεπιστήμιο και σπούδασα Accounting and Finance και τώρα θα μιλήσω στα αγγλικά επειδή μπορώ να εκφραστώ καλύτερα στα αγγλικά. Where I see the Cypriot community going in the future in London, unfortunately I have a very negative view of the way I see the Cypriot community going in London. I've seen that over the last 10 or so years we've lost our sense of tradition and our sense of culture in certain ways. I think we've become a lot more westernized. I'd like to think that, I'm a second generation Cypriot in this country. I'd like to think that my children and my grandchildren will go ahead to go to Greek school, learn their language, learn their history, learn their culture, be interested in Greek music and Greek dancing the way I'm interested in Greek music and in Greek dancing. But I think as the years go by, it's becoming increasingly more difficult for people to hold on to their culture and hold on to their heritage because we are so far away from home and there aren't many sources of information that we can go to find information. I think that it will be difficult, but as long as people have the attitude that they are proud of being Cypriot and that they want to, that they have an interest in their Cypriot heritage, then our roots won't be forgotten and we will continue to go back to Cyprus, especially if a solution is found to the Cyprus problem. We will be going back and we will hold on to our roots in that way, but it is becoming increasingly more difficult as needing to know Greek as a language, but while you're living in England, is not important anymore. It's not as important, say, as French or Spanish, which people may need a second language to know to get along in their careers, work-wise.
Thank you, Ellie, for your support. And those young Cypriots, still young Cypriots, identified a few problems. And δεν έμειναν με τα χέρια σταυρωμένα. They worked tirelessly to make sure that programs were created where young Cypriots could go over to Cyprus and learn Greek, a problem they identified. A lack of engagement with culture, roots, music, dancing and all of that was also identified. And again, they didn't just sit there and criticize, they worked extremely hard to find solutions and provide those events both locally and over in Cyprus with the programs and conferences to create those connections. So, Mr. Minister, I think it's only appropriate that we recognise and award those individuals with us today who were involved 20 years and more ago. And it's the last time I'll ask you to get up this evening, but I would like to invite firstly our General Secretary, the first General Secretary of NEPOMAK UK, Χρήστος Καραολή, and last but not least, the first President of NEPOMAK and NFCY, Meniko Kovaro, to receive their award from the Minister this evening. Thank you for all your hard work.
Congratulations, Christo. Congratulations.
There are a couple of professionals that came before me when it came to the prosphonisis, so I won't attempt that again, just to say, dear friends, it's an honour to be here. The video brings back a lot of memories, so it's kind of knocked me a bit for six emotionally. Suffice it to say that yes, I did have a lot more hair than I do today. And Yusra, the vice president, a good friend of mine, she didn't in fact have a son. He does go to Greek school and he does enjoy Greek dancing. So at least some of the aspirations have been fulfilled. And Mary also used the opportunity to remark on the fact that I should be getting on and having kids since I was talking about the subsequent generations, which she consistently does. I recognise that I'm standing between everyone and dessert, and that's never a good place to be. So maybe a few words of thanks. First of all, thank you, Mr. Minister. It's an incredible honour for you to be here and to present me and the rest of us with this award. Incredible because you're a fantastic example of someone who has steadfastly served his country and the Cyprus issue for many, many years. So thank you very much for being here with us tonight. And as has been mentioned, you were the minister, and you have to look on Wikipedia for the young people here. Look at the minister's service record and how many times he's served his country. But yeah, from 1999 when we started to try to pull things together, and I was, as you see, much younger and a student at university, and probably Christos, you must have been what, like 13 maybe, 14. So yes, ήταν κοπελρίνджο μυαλός, as you said before. So thank you. The second point of thanks, actually, these things are never done by any individual. So I want to take this opportunity to recognise the young people that came together both in the NFCY steering committee and in that first NEPOMAK inaugural committee, with passion and with drive, united by a common desire to reach out to other young Cypriots and make a connection. Because without that team, this wouldn't have been possible.
And it goes without mention, actually, we should also thank and recognise Andreas as the Federation sponsor for the youth. And we just saw a clip of Ioannis Kasoulidis before the television went off as the then president who fought a number of battles in our corner to help the youth come into fruition. So we owe them great thanks also. Thank you. And, last but not least, a big thank you to Adrian and the committee. You guys are custodians of something very special. Treat it as such. And I hope that it brings you the same purpose and passion and fulfillment and friendships that it did us those many, many years ago. Thank you very much. Now, one minor point, His Eminence may be thinking that there's probably someone that we've forgotten to thank. So maybe instead of thanks, Your Eminence, maybe a short blessing for NEPOMAK, if that's possible.
We'd like to also acknowledge the first Vice President Andrula Sodiri and First Treasurer Cleo Babafodis, who couldn't be here this evening. They sent their apologies. And that will conclude the formal proceedings of the event. Thank you to everyone once more for attending. I believe we have cake next or photo?
Cake and dessert for all of those in the buffet area, and then...
Cake and dessert by my future mother-in-law, who's very talented. And also the dessert for everyone to enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.